Emerging research is beginning to reveal a surprising and often overlooked factor in running injury risk: mental fatigue. While most runners think of injury as a product of physical overuse, too many miles, too little rest, poor form, the brain plays a much bigger role than previously understood. New findings suggest that cognitive fatigue, the kind that builds after long hours of work, stress, screen time, or emotional strain, may subtly impair biomechanics, coordination, and decision-making during runs. And that impairment could set the stage for injury, even in the absence of physical overload. Mental fatigue alters how the brain processes feedback from the body. Under normal conditions, your nervous system constantly makes micro-adjustments to maintain stride efficiency, muscle balance, and joint alignment. But when you're mentally drained, these processes become less precise. The result? Small but critical shifts in movement patterns. Your stride might become slightly uneven, your foot strike less controlled, or your posture more slouched, all changes that increase strain on muscles, tendons, and joints. The more fatigue your brain, the less reliable your movement becomes. What's particularly concerning is how invisible this risk can be. Most runners won't feel anything obviously wrong. They may not notice a change in their gait or running economy. They may even feel motivated, pushing through a run as a way to clear their head. But underneath that effort, their body is working harder to stabilize itself. That means higher energy expenditure and higher mechanical stress in places that aren't prepared to absorb it. Over time, or even during a single run, this can trigger an injury that seems to come out of nowhere. In laboratory settings, studies have shown that athletes experiencing cognitive fatigue exhibit reduced knee stability, altered joint angles, and delayed muscle firing, hallmarks of movement patterns linked to common injuries like runner's knee, Achilles tendinopathy, or shin splints. These biomechanical shifts are similar to what's seen after prolonged physical fatigue, but they occur earlier and without the same obvious muscular exhaustion. That makes them harder to detect and easier to ignore. Mental fatigue also impairs decision-making. Runners under cognitive strain are more likely to ignore early pain signals, choose harder routes than they can handle, or skip warm-ups and cool-downs. They may misjudge pace, terrain, or hydration needs. All of these choices carry risk, and when layered onto subtle biomechanical degradation, the danger compounds quickly. This link between mental state and physical vulnerability should serve as a warning, especially in modern life, where runners often lace up after draining workdays or emotional stress. A run may feel like the perfect antidote to mental exhaustion, but if not handled carefully, it can turn into the trigger for injury. The body may be rested, but if the brain is tired, the risk is still real. But this knowledge also offers power. Recognizing mental fatigue as a legitimate training variable means runners can adapt more wisely. On days of high cognitive stress, it may be safer to run shorter, easier routes, or substitute a low-impact recovery activity. Mindful movement, strength training, or even skipping the session entirely can help preserve both physical and neurological health. Logging fewer miles on a mentally taxing day could be the exact thing that prevents a future injury. Injury prevention has long focused on physical metrics: mileage, pace, shoes, terrain. But this emerging field of research is a reminder that the brain is part of the equation. A tired brain makes a clumsier body. And in running, even a small lapse in coordination or control can have consequences. If runners begin to respect mental fatigue the same way they respect sore muscles or achy joints, they may not only avoid injury, they may run better, more intuitively, and more sustainably. In a sport that thrives on repetition and resilience, the mind isn't just a passenger. It's a core part of the machine. And when it's running on empty, the whole system is at risk.